Today's story began with tragedy for a Cocoa Beach High School soccer player. His collapse at a practice stunned and crushed teammates who had known Rafe Macarone since childhood. But it also inspired them. Now, 7 years later, the award-winning nonprofit they formed in his memory has provided low-cost or free heart screenings to nearly 50,000 young athletes. It has very likely saved dozens of lives. The group is called Who We Play For. To learn more about its mission and the amazing young people behind it, I met in the Floor Today studio with founders and executive directors Evan Ernst and Zane Schultz. Evan and Zane, love having you here today because of your story. There are two parts of it that I want to talk about: what you do and kind of how you got started, where this all kind of came from. Let's start with what you do first off. What is Who We Play For?
So Who We Play For was a nonprofit that we started the last couple of years. It started with one simple belief, really, and it was that Brevard County and Cocoa Beach could drive a national movement to protect students and student athletes' hearts. What we do is we go into middle schools and high schools around the country, and we provide affordable heart screenings.
How do you do that? What kinds of activities do you?
Well, we go in there, we're talking with principals, athletic directors, superintendents even on some occasions, and we're really just going in there, seeing what's most convenient for the staff for us to really bring these heart screenings to them. So we've even brought an EKG machine here with us today, but we go in there, we set it up. We've been fortunate enough to work with some really strong teams of administrators, and they help us out, and divide them up between girls and guys, and then we administer the screens. The screens are about 5 minutes apiece, and it's really in and out. It's as simple as you can make it.
How much would it normally cost if somebody wanted to go get a heart screening at their local doctors? Is it pretty expensive or hard? I mean, why is there such a need to go and get?
Yeah, so what people don't realize is that sudden cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death in student athletes in the United States. So up to 10,000 kids every single year die from detectable heart conditions. Our friend Rafe was one of them, and what we found out when we came to college is that simple 5-minute painless EKG could have saved Rafe's life as well as the other 10,000 kids. And that 5-minute test, we just bring it in and really just pick, the kids will come whenever is most convenient for their teachers throughout the school day, and we'll sit down and give them 5-minute painless EKG, and then it's done.
You're not doctors though, right? So you must have somebody who reads the EKGs, or how does that work?
So the way it works is once we do the EKGs, we send all the results to our team of cardiologists in Texas who've been doing this for 15 years and who are some of the best in the country. And they send those results within 3 business days back to the school, the HIPAA certified nurse or athletic trainer, who then sends them out to all the participants.
So they can see if there's something irregular in the pattern and all that. We'll take a look at the EKG here in a minute for viewers to kind of give them a sense of what it entails. You recently, just this past weekend, I think I saw a picture of the two of you at a skate park in Cocoa Beach. Explain.
Yeah, so that was actually last night. Did you find us on social media? Is
Twitter,
that where you saw? You saw us on Twitter.
On your Twitter feed.
Yeah, we have compliments to Kieran Easton. We have a great team working with us, volunteers that put us out there for the world to see what we're doing. But I was an AED that we had fundraised for the Cocoa Beach skate park. And so that picture was actually with a gentleman named Scooter, who's born and bred Cocoa Beach, visionary, just like the rest of the community that we've had a great opportunity to meet with over these last 7 years. But he was really touched by what we were doing and reached out to us for an AED, and we were happy enough to be able to do that for him. It was nothing. So
what does AED stand for?
Automated external defibrillator.
Okay, so this is where if there was somebody at the skate park who was real worked up, if they had a heart condition or something like that, this is the paddles that you do. So somebody needs to be trained on that, and that's part of the program?
Yes, sir.
So an AED anybody can actually use. And we recommend training. We went over it with Scooter. But on an emergency situation, when you open up the AED, it'll walk you through exactly how to use it. It'll speak to you.
I know that's something that they've tried to get at more high school gyms.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just hard to get the resources to do something like that. Let's talk a little bit about this story. I mean, you've been at this for 7 years now. I think we talked a little bit. You both just have graduated recently from college. But this started when you were in high school at Cocoa Beach High School. Who do you play for? What is this about?
So for us, when Rafe first passed away, we didn't know what to do.
Who's Rafe?
Rafe was our friend. I guess I should explain that. Rafe Macaron was our good friend, our lifelong teammate, kid we played with from 3rd grade to our junior year in high school.
Soccer player.
Soccer
You all
player,
played
sir.
for the Minutemen?
Exactly. We played for
Okay.
Cocoa Beach High School. We played club together. We trained together every day. And then one day, the year that we thought we could go the whole distance and win a state championship, he collapsed at practice and died due to HCM, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. When he collapsed, we didn't have an AED, didn't know what an AED was, and we definitely didn't know that an EKG could have detected it and prevented it. So we went out and played on that season. We adopted this mantra. We called it Play for Rafe.
Yeah, and it really just kind of became, the next 7 years was really us just figuring it out step by step. And we knew that through soccer, because we still had another season to go with our senior year coming up, it was a great outlet for us. For 16, 17-year-old young men. How do you deal with a tragedy like that? This was an incredible outlet for us. Meanwhile, support to the community, we were able to help start a scholarship, and we did a 5K, and it was so beautiful. And then, you know, it actually really all started that weekend that he passed away with a pickup soccer game with a lot of the people you got to play with in the Brevard's Finest game. So, you know, we do that. We really kind of got to see that our cause, our movement, was really going to be able to catch fire with a special community like Brevard County. And from there, it really evolved over the next 7 years through trial and error. A lot of mistakes were made. Very steep growing process, you know, and it really turned into something really special. And the more opportunities that we were proactive about seeking out, from conferences to just sit-downs with influential individuals in the community, it really became real.
Just
and they
thinking
started
about
making
what you can
suggestions.
do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And eventually we began to realize that, one, we weren't unique in the fact that Rafe passed away from a heart condition like this. We thought at first that there was no way a 16-year-old has a heart attack. He's about to be 16 in a week, you know, and so we didn't think about that. But what we saw was, over time, you know, there was a way to impact the masses, and that we saw what the numbers were like, and with the communities that we involved ourselves in that could help us with our movement, with who we play for's movement, we began to learn what the most effective way to protect children's hearts, specifically student athletes' hearts, and that was with the EKG screenings. And with the merger this summer, which Evan can tell you a little bit more about, but we found a way to kind of defy the odds and bring a scalable, affordable model to help protect children's hearts, and that's what, you know, that's what we did.
It seems like a kind of a no-brainer question, but have you saved any lives?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little more details than that. It's pretty wild. So, you know, this is something we worked on, like Zane said, for the last 7 years. And leading up until last summer, we ended up putting on the first ever college-run heart screening. So we were the first college organization to ever do it over at FSU. FSU seems to do a lot of things pretty well, except for lose to your Ducks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So, yeah, we put on the first ever college-run heart screening. We screened 175 families. And out of those 175 kids that we screened, 11 of them had heart conditions, and 1 was a volunteer who ended up having a life-threatening heart condition.
Wow.
And then what's even more wild than that, after that heart screening, we ended up merging with another organization based out of Texas, and now we're all who we play for. So in Washington, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida, together collectively, we've screened 49,000 kids, and 60 kids today are still living because of it.
Wow. So what started with, for a high school kid, just unspeakable, confusing tragedy. You know, a friend just drops dead, inspires you to keep going on this through college, and 60 people, you very likely have saved their lives. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I can tell you, having been the president of an athletic booster club before, that raising money is very, very hard.
Difficult.
And there's so much compliance stuff that you have to do that is really grown-up stuff. I mean, becoming a 501c3 and all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure that was probably a little bit about what those lessons that you were learning.
No doubt.
Oh, God.
That is a lot of work unto itself. Let's talk a little bit about the this event that you just had. It was called, we had a number of things. You had a block party in downtown Cocoa Beach. Describe this event. What did you do?
Yeah, the December to Remember is really our jewel, and we had an opportunity to tell the participants at this year's alumni game that, and it really is a weekend where we can bring everybody, and it's even our goal every year to bring in new faces from Brevard County, but just a way to bring everybody together. Generally around the Thanksgiving time, you'll see it in any city, But yeah, of all the kids that grew up going to school together, they come back and they get to celebrate with each other, catch up. You haven't seen each other for a year. You guys were off in college doing your thing. But this is more like we all have this special connection that is Rafe. And when all of it happened, it made us such a strong community, and people that we didn't even know were reaching out to us. And like the raw compassion that we saw gave us this motivation to say we need to put something on where we're all coming back together, because we're about to go in 1,000 different directions once we graduate. And we already kind of saw that from the team, you know, from the 08 members and the 09 members. You lose touch, but this was always a way to get back together.
So you've got corporate partners, people that have stepped up to help support you. You had a block party downtown. You had an alumni game, right, Cocoa Beach. But then there was this event called Brevard's Finest. Now, I was talked into going and playing in this game, thinking that I was going to be up there with our sheriff and our mayor and, you know, some other people who might, you know, go a little slowly, you know, playing some soccer, only to find that it's 35 college-age people going full speed, full blast, and I think I made it about 10 minutes per half, maybe, and was incapacitated for about a week. But why was it called Brevard's Finest? I mean, you said something at that event that just really struck me. Where did that come from?
That's awesome. So at that Brevard's Finest game, the weekend that Rafe died, he was supposed to play in a 3v3 soccer team with my little brother and a couple other pretty incredible people. And the mantra that they came up with, their team name was Rafe's, and he called them the Brevard's Finest. So we decided, after Rafe passed away, to all come together and play one pickup game to reunite that soccer community. Because we knew at a very young age that Brevard County had the chance to create a national movement or do something incredible. At the time, we had no idea how or what or like when it or anything of how it looks. But we wanted to continue that tradition as we worked to figure it out. So every single year we come together for the Brevard's Finest game, and we bring together some of Brevard's best talent, from kids that played full scholarship D1 schools to kids that just played in high school like us.
This is it? This seems like a fairly small rig, not something that's going to be, you have to put your body in some kind of a chamber or anything like that. Explain what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it's almost just stupid simple. So this little cardio screen EKG machine, we take it into schools, kids come in, take their shirts off, and then we put the stickers on the end of them. We place 10 stickers on their chests, and in less than 5 minutes, we'll have the results, and then we shoot them over via Bluetooth to our team of cardiologists, who then read it and send it back with their consultation, connecting them to leaders in the community, like other cardiologists, where they can get their follow-up.
Wow, so they look at the results of that pattern, and they're looking for something that looks like an atypical up and down, that kind of thing. So what are these units attached to? Are these fingers? Are these brain electrodes? What do those do?
So it attaches to a little sticker that goes onto the chest or the arm or the belly.
Okay, no pain involved?
Zero.
Nope, non-invasive, and those are called leads, not fingers.
Have you, in the process of going out into these communities, maybe dealing with schools or students, what are some of the reservations that people have? I mean, are they worried about doing this, or what have you encountered?
What's interesting is a lot of people don't realize that, like I mentioned earlier, sudden cardiac arrest and heart conditions are the leading cause of death in student athletes, and that compared to concussions, which very important cause, and there's a lot of them every year, but only 5 to 10 athletes a year in the United States die from concussions. But this machine right here will detect those heart conditions that represent thousands every single year that die from sudden cardiac arrest. One of the big reservations is that we are not doctors, and neither of us are medical professionals, and we don't pretend to be. I never would. Fortunately, there was a study that came out of Chicago that proves that any well-trained volunteer is equally equipped to administer an EKG.
And where does this equipment come from?
This comes from a company called CardioScreen.
And so part of your fundraising efforts has been to buy this equipment and to hold the events to go out and do this. But once you have it, right, you're able to go out again and again and again and use it to test students all around. Now, if somebody wanted to get tested or was interested in doing this at their school, what would you recommend they do?
Yeah, so if they wanted to go through their school, they could actually go through, and in a lot of communities, there have been leaders in the medical fields that have one we know that's really involved with who we play for, but they'll go out and they acquire the grant money and they'll actually help put on screens as well. So there are doctors out there that understand the concerns, but as far as what we would do, like I said, the process is we communicate with the schools, we find when it's convenient, when the best opportunity is to come in and screen as many kids as possible, because we want every child to have an opportunity. And so we would arrange through them, and Evan can tell you more about how the kids actually sign up, because we have online formats, we have other ways for them to sign up, but once they're signed up, it's generally during, the model that's worked in Texas is coming in during a specific period during the day, so they have sports periods there, so they'll come in during a football class, or they'll come in during another class, and they'll screen outright the bulk. But what we do is, because Florida's got a little bit of a different setup, Evan can tell you a little bit more about how we set that up with our schools.
Yeah, so we reach out to the nurses, the athletic trainers, the coaches, really whoever wants to take ownership of this event at their school. So we are totally up for doing it at any middle school, any high school, anywhere they want to do it. And all they have to do is contact us, and we'll show up and do it. One other reservation that I forgot to mention is that some people don't get why we charge $15 for the EKG.
Okay.
And that's a completely understandable question. Our dream is to deliver this for free. That's exactly why we do those fundraisers. Like you mentioned earlier with December to Remember, all the money we fundraise there goes towards providing every single kid that says they cannot afford an EKG an opportunity to get one free of charge. So we bring into the schools $15, and let's say a kid says they can't get it,
Yeah.
free.
That's fantastic. So you mentioned again some statistics earlier. How many people potentially have, compared to concussions? Put that into perspective for me again.
Yeah, so every single year, a handful of kids die from concussions. Concussions, extremely important issue, and they've done incredible work for us leading the way. But with heart conditions, it's really the silent killer that no one talks about. Everyone thinks it's a lightning strike incident when it's really not. And what's really cool once you start doing the research is you see that these cardio screens and these EKG machines are being adopted around the world. So we have the entire country of Israel, Italy, Japan that perform EKGs on every single middle school and high school athlete.
Is that right?
It's crazy.
You mentioned that in some countries, everybody does this, right? But in the United States, not everybody has to do this. And I understand that who we play for has gotten behind some legislation that would do something. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so in the United States right now, professional athletics, every athlete gets an EKG. The majority of college athletics get EKGs, and the NCAA recommends EKGs. The National Athletic Trainer Association, they recommend EKGs, and I could spit out and go all day long on that. But what we're trying to do right here in Florida is make it where an EKG is everyone has the opportunity from middle school to high school. And through the FHSAA, which is the Florida High School Association of Athletics, this year we're going to be mandating education on sudden cardiac arrest. One day we dream to have a piloted heart screening program where every kid has the opportunity to get this bad boy completely free of charge. But for now, we're just mandating education.
I remember very well. You'd get these, 3 forms that you'd have to go get filled out. You'd I take my kids in to get a physical every year, right? They had to get some sort of concussion disclosure form, and then they had to get the physical. So you're thinking that this could be part of that process?
Exactly. So again, in Florida and the United States, you get your eyes tested growing up, you get your back tested, you get your head tested. I got my reflex tested every year, but never once did I get my heart tested. A stethoscope for 30 seconds to a minute is less than 1% effective. Will catch 90% of heart conditions.
Wow. Well, they must be just looking for the most obvious kind of things like heart murmurs or leaky valves, or I forget whatever it is the doctors look for, but not the kinds of rhythms and patterns and things that might add up to some kind of. But tell us again, what's the difference between a heart attack and what Rafe experienced?
So a heart attack is more of like a plumbing problem, in simple terms, and then a sudden hypertrophic cardiomyopathy or sudden cardiac arrest is more of an electrical problem. Okay. So this will measure the electrical impulses of your heart.
Very good. before we move any further, I know you've got some kind of a fundraiser or an event or something like that that you wanted to make sure. Tell me a little bit about what's coming up.
Cool. So on Indiegogo, you can go type in who we play for, and you can donate any amount of money you want. Especially if you want to donate a couple thousand, whatever. That's great. And all of that money will go towards providing the school you choose a free heart screening.
Really? Mm-hmm. So if somebody was a booster of, say, Cocoa Beach High School, Satellite High School, Mel High, something like that, they could designate that. What a fantastic gift. Gift of life for somebody who may not realize that they have a problem. Tell me a little bit about this other group you said in Texas that you've connected with.
Yeah, Cypress EKG project, incredible organization, but we had an opportunity to meet with Mary DeBosch at a conference last January, and from there it spurred into this relationship that we built with them, because what a lot of people found special is that when we went to this conference, there was a lot of families, there was a lot of parents, and it really was a somber, it was kind of hard to explain that feeling when you're in there and you see all these parents that have lost their children. And it's a large part of why, because we were so close to the macaroons, why we do what we do. We don't want any parents to see that again. Mm-hmm. But what was cool is that we were the youngest people in that conference by 20, 30 years. And so we think, by going to that conference, it really was a strong move for us as an organization, because it exposed people to this reality that there are more than just grieving parents out there. We were brothers with this kid. Rafe Macaron, I went to school with him he was a year younger than me, but I went to Our Saviors over there in Cocoa Beach, and we were together from all the way through Our Saviors, all the way through Cocoa Beach, and I'm confident he would have been a Seminole, just like the rest of us. If he wasn't going and pursuing soccer, which there's a very good chance he would have done that. But that really was the fire starter. She wanted to be a part of a screening that we had planned for May of that year, and she came, and it went flawlessly, and from there it kind of spurred into this conversation about what can we do together? Like, why would we not align? And it just made so much sense, and over the next 3 months, a lot of hours were put into really making it real, and Cypress has been with us the whole way. We've been working together over the last couple months, and we are really setting ourselves up to make a serious impact in Florida. So it's really beautiful what they've allowed us to be able to do, because without them, we're not sure how much longer we could have been able to do this. You graduate school, everybody picks a career, there's a path to take, and there's means that need to be met, and it was a reality that this might not be able to continue that long. So it was so beautiful when they came to us and they wanted to do this, and we were able to work with them, put a vision together, and now we're moving towards this incredible goal. And now we're in Washington State, Louisiana, Texas. Am I missing anything? Yeah, and we've screened 49,000 kids. We've, saved close to 100 lives. It's a beautiful thing.
And to add on to that, I got to tell you the story. This is absolutely crazy. So right now I'm wearing this wristband. It's called Live for Evan. So when we started Who We Play For, we knew that we wanted to encompass the why, that we represent hundreds and thousands across the country, teams, communities, families, all have been affected. Cypress ECG project, when they started, they mastered the what. They figured this beautiful machine out, they put it together, and they made it possible. They put 14 years into screening, they brought together the cardiologist, and they did incredible work. And then we thought together we could be able to stand up for organizations like Live for Evan. So I was just in Boston, and I met this kid randomly on New Year's Eve, wearing a Live for Evan wristband.
Wow.
And here's what he told me. I asked him randomly, he was like, hey man, what's the wristband mean? And he goes, well, it's a nonprofit we started for our friend who died of a heart condition. We started a scholarship in a 5K. We donate every year to the hospital and to the scholarship. And I looked at him and I said, my God, we did the exact same thing. And then I told him about Who We Play For and how we thought that there were other people like us and that we could provide sort of a national network where they could have the opportunity to share their story and make an immediate impact with machines like this.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Now you were both, Rafe would have been 23 this year. You were both in your early 20s. I'm guessing right around the same age. You would have spent many days in the minivan going to soccer tournaments with him as little kids, and now you're all grown up. Are you working for Who We Play For full time now, both of you? And so what's next? You've got this fundraiser going on. What are you, where are you reaching out next?
So the vision now, we've been working in Duval County, we've been working in Leon County, Brevard County, and then in Orlando. We're trying to bring these heart screens and these machines to every single middle school and high school that we can, and we're trying to do it as cheaply as we possibly can. So we're putting forward the $15 suggested donation or fee, either way you call it. We call it suggested donation because we're going to give it to you for free if you can't afford it. So yeah, that's what the next 6 months to a year looks like for us.
And these contributions are tax deductible because you are an officially registered, tax-exempt organization. You recently won, I believe, what was it called, the Jim Moran Institute Social Entrepreneurship Award. Tell me about that.
That's pretty cool. You know, we've been really fortunate to have an incredible amount of supporters. The biggest one probably has been the Jim Moran Institute. They've given us incubator space in Tallahassee, which is an office. They've given us money. They sent us to conferences, speaking opportunities. They've made connections with us for people that we would have never been able to get in front of. And unfortunately, again, they put out a competition, and we rallied the troops, and we submitted, and we presented, and we won $5,000. And yeah, we won the Social Entrepreneurship Challenge.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me here today. This is a terrific effort. I'm just now healing from the Brevard's finest experience. I hope to be in a little bit better shape next year if you'll have me back out.
Absolutely,
and we'll see if we can't get some other people from Florida Today or elsewhere in the community out to support your effort. We hope you have the best of luck, and thanks for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thanks again, Matt.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
One more hopeful fact Ernst & Schultz wanted to share: of the 60-plus athletes for whom they found heart defects, just 8 had to quit sports altogether. With treatment and lifestyle changes, the rest were able to continue to pursue their passions. Look for Who We Play For on Facebook and Twitter. To comment or learn more about today's program, send an email to me at mreed@floridatoday.com. That's our program for this week. We'll see you right here next Wednesday on The Matt Reed Show.